Thomas Green here with Ethical Marketing Service. On the podcast today, we have Rochelle Dallas. Rochelle, welcome.
Hi.
Would you like to take a moment and tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I am a course creation mentor. So I transitioned into this fairly recently, focusing specifically on course creation. I've got a lot of coaching background and lots of business background, but my passion is in course creation because it's such a fantastic, scalable way to build a business. So I help coaches mainly to bottle up their secret sauce so that they can sell it in crates. And I, fell in love with the scalability and the smartness of it all really a couple of years ago. That's what I do.
So is this the actual kind of business? Is this in relation to, lockdown stuff, or is it something that you actually did before that?
Yeah, it's way before lockdown. So I was working as a virtual assistant for female-owned businesses, and it transitioned really naturally into a coaching, positivity. I'm very positive and a real problem solver, and so I naturally gravitated towards coaching with them. And then when a few too many said to me, Rochelle, you're my VA, you're not my coach, I don't pay for this. I was like, oh, is this what coaching is? Okay, let me look at that. So I went and did an NLP master practitioner certification and really understood what it was about what I do that made so much sense, because I felt I needed to be able to give a bit more official advice than I'll just get over it or just get on with it, So I was like, right, this is understanding the mindset and everything. I'm unpicking any challenges and beliefs and stuff like that. So I found it a really fascinating course to go on. And then I've got a big background in Six Sigma and lean management. So when online training started to sort of come to the forefront a couple of years ago, I literally was just like, I love it. I love everything about course creation as a way to scale your business, have smart processes within your business, earn a lot of money and help a lot of people. And when I say about earning a lot of money, you can earn it without spending it. I've run a six-figure business before. I spent a lot of that running it, and it was the worst time of my life. I absolutely hated it. So for me, being able to scale a business to a significant, income without spending most of that on a team and advertising and marketing and running the business is, it's just a win for everyone. And also mainly the impact that spreads as well. I talk a lot about the ripple effect and how incredible, you might have this course here, but you're helping the people that are doing it, that's helping their families and the businesses around them, and and it's just this, and their families, and it just creates this fantastic ripple effect. So that's where it happened. I was after trying to convince clients of mine to do courses, I was like, we really should do some courses. Let's get some, let's do this as a project. I thought that, they just weren't in the right place in their business. And so I just did it myself. I launched a course called the Redundancy Survival Project. And as luck would have it, I spent 6 months building it all and launched it on the 1st of April because I had this big plan about redundancy not being a joke and da-da-da. But in the end, it was, well, a global pandemic is not a joke, actually. So it ended up being a massive curveball, but loads of lessons. And so last year during lockdown, I've learned a lot about myself and about how I break down my strategies to teach things with the NLP, and created a new course called Course You Can, which helps people to launch and map out and productize their expertise and their services into a digital product, so that they're future-proofing their businesses, right? So with a third lockdown might happen, or a fourth or a fifth. Like, I think if anything, this whole situation has proved that we've actually just got no control over any of the decisions that are being made. So as much like there's you can, you know, avoid the news, or you can, you know, have your own feelings about the vax and all of that. But ultimately, if they're laying down laws and restrictions in businesses, your hands are kind of tied. So future proofing yourself as much as possible is where I believe is where it's at.
So do you advocate existing businesses do courses in addition to their main business, or is it typically a business that is predominantly a course?
Both. It's both. And it's also not about an external course as well. Online resources in general are just a fantastic way for businesses. So I work with corporates as well, and small to medium-sized businesses where their onboarding or their training processes aren't, succinct, and they're just like all over the place. And people are like, they'll be in a job for a year and they'll be like, oh, I didn't even know that was there. Like, they haven't got the access to a portal or something like that. So it's making sure that it's right from the start, you know, so that it's digitizing any sort of process, really, whether that's a business that wants to target a different demographic in their audience. So I talk a lot about a course offering a really efficient mid-step. Okay, so primarily with coaches, you've got like a freebie or your entry-level offer, and you've got your high-ticket one-to-one stuff. And there's a big gap between the two. So trying to get people to graduate through to that could be quite challenging. But having this mid-step where people have the space, time, energy, and payment to graduate through the steps means that, because all four need to be aligned to be ready for one-to-one work, right? You can't just sort of like decide, I need a coach, or I want to do some one-to-one work with somebody. A lot of stuff has to be in play for that to be the right time. So having this mid-step in between means that it's not a downgrade to one-to-one, but it's an upgrade through your value proposition ladder, so that you can help this whole group of people that may just not be ready or have the funds to promote themselves to one-to-one. So it can help existing businesses. It could be a new business. I help a lot of people redo their courses as well. If they've not got a great completion rate, or if they're not getting the reviews that they thought that they would get, I help a lot of people do that, like redo their courses. So that's another thing. They haven't even considered, they talk a lot about their ideal client, for example, and they've not actually considered that their ideal course taker is actually probably slightly different. So they need to do some work on that, and that there's a lot of light bulb moments there.
Well, you mentioned NLP. I mean, it's a big topic, but at the same time, I do think there might be some nuggets for you to share. So in terms of what's the best few things that you learned about NLP that you would want to share with the audience?
Everything is a strategy. Like, every single thing, even if you, like, as an example, making a cup of tea, you can break down absolutely everything that you do. It may be a bit trickier if you do it on autopilot and you've got a natural ability for something, but everything is a strategy and a system that you process internally, and which means that you can absolutely productize anything that you do. You can wrap that up in a package and give it to somebody, and if they follow the processes and the systems within it, they can replicate, they can mirror excellence that way. That's one of my biggest learnings. Also, I loved finding out about different people's learning styles and their preferred rep systems and things like that. I really enjoyed that. So understanding that how you may learn something, it doesn't sink in the same way to other people. And so having that appreciation. So bringing it back to course creation, having that appreciation of that. You may think because you're visual that slide decks are the answer and you're going to do a series of videos and that's it. But actually you need to consider that actually some people might like to learn by audio. So I'll always give an audio version so they can go and walk the dog or, you know, go for a run or something and listen in on the lesson, because that's how they take information in. Other people like to curl up on the sofa and read through the stuff and make notes and highlight stuff. So there's always a transcript as well. So it's about being accommodating in the knowledge. So you've got it this, the same message can be, you know, wrapped up a couple of times in different formats, so that you've got this like 360 view of how that it will sink in.
Thanks for that. I did want to get your thoughts on, there's a little kind of, in your profile, there's a founder of Course You Can, and I take my clients from idea to buy here. And that's kind of the actual concept of an idea is kind of like a principle, a self-development principle. So I wanted to get your thoughts on the difference between people who use an idea versus people who don't. So there's that person who takes an idea and runs with it, and then there's the person who it kind of dies. So what do you think the distinction is between those two people?
To be honest, I think that it's overwhelm. People will not move forward on an idea if they don't know how to, and they don't know what the next step is. So then that becomes a bigger problem, and they don't know where, they don't even know to write it down. So it becomes in their head magnified and a bigger thing. And then it's like, but then I need to do this, then I need to do that, but then it becomes too much, and then they stop. And that's your subconscious mind protecting you, right? They're putting the stoppers on it because they don't want you to go into that new territory. They don't want, it's scary, it's new, like stay safe. But it's almost like if you've got a plan, you can do anything. You really can. And if you finish, if you've got an idea, or even like, it doesn't matter how vague an idea it is, you don't have to know the next step. What you need to know is where you want it to go, and you can map back from that. And that's where I think the magic is, because if you know where it's going. So I didn't start a course. I didn't launch Course You Can because I wanted to do a module about ideal course taker. That came later. That came way later. I wanted to create something. My idea and my vision was that people create great, authentically brilliant courses with high completion rates. Okay, so it wasn't about me saying, I did a £5 million launch, or, you know, I've got 20 million clients. It wasn't about that. It was about that everybody goes through my course, first of all, but creates courses that other people finish, right? There's I think it's 40% of courses don't even get started, right? Like that's a throwaway, like, product. Like that's not what you want. You want something, you know, this isn't fast fashion or one-hit wonders. You're not in it for the quick buck. One of my things is about the win being in the shift, not the sale. So I don't care if I only ever sell 100 places on Course You Can. That will be 100 people finishing that course. So that was my vision, right? I didn't do that because I wanted to make a course. I did it because I wanted people to make better courses. Yeah, so that's went a bit of a tangent, I'm afraid, but I tend to do that.
So people building it up then more than it is in their mind, essentially.
Massively, yeah, massively. But also knowledge of not knowing what to do. Like I'm quite technical, right? So I've got quite a long like digital background, and you know, I've worked on big like global web development projects, right? And even I will ask my stepbrother, who's really technical, even I'll ask him, what do I need to Google for that? Like, what is that I'm looking for? So it's about having that knowledge of where to go, what to do, what are you even looking for? So yeah, a mixture of overwhelm and know-how.
You mentioned in the beginning about scaling. So what are your thoughts on scaling businesses?
So two thoughts immediately spring to mind. The first is about scaling, ensuring that you're ready to scale, as in getting your house in order, right? So for me, there are a number of processes that need to be really locked down in your business in order to scale. A booking process, so people can always get hold of you, book time in your diary instead of faffing about with, are you free then? Are you free then? Oh no, we missed that. Oh, okay, like back and forth. Getting people on the phone if they're interested in your services, the booking process is essential. An onboarding process, so that people know exactly what's expected of them. An offboarding process, so that you've always got a review and a testimonial and you're highlighted any problems too. And finally, a delegation process, so everybody knows exactly, again, what's expected of them and where they are in the process. So those 4 processes help, if they're pinned down in your business, will allow you to scale, okay? And then obviously all of the many processes within. So it's just about keeping a tight ship and making sure that everybody communicates well. So scalability. And then creating products. So I would never create a product in my business or a service or a system in my business that was only built for one time. So I always build it in mind that it would be done 100 times by 100 people, so that I'm not there teaching them every single time how to do things. So everything that I do, I record. It's a really good tip, actually, if anybody doesn't do this already. I'll go on to Zoom. I'll have a meeting with myself and I'll just record myself doing it. I've never had much luck with Loom, but Zoom just lets me record it. I'll add it into a shared folder on our Google Drive. And then how I do it, exactly how I do it, is somebody else could pick it up. So my assistant could pick it up. If she's on holiday, I could get somebody else to cover very easily, because it's a digital process manual, making sure that all of those are, recorded, efficient and delegatable for processes. And then revenue and product sales wise, making sure again that everything is built so that it can be done by 100 people 100 times and not by you. So there's a fully automated system. When people join Course You Can, that means that they've got the link, they've got this, they've got the logins, that it's all done. So people just need to buy it and then they go through the system. But one of my principles is scale, don't bail on your clients. So it's very important to me that people build these courses and they don't feel like but both my clients and their students as well, that they don't scale to such a huge number that they feel just like a tagged user in a sequence. There's still there's ways and clever ways that you can still be very much present for them. I call it leading from a distance, but not a disconnect. I hear lots of people get big programs built. I know, because I've been in some of them, big programs, and feeling disappointed once they got through the doors because the support just wasn't there. So everything that I create is geared towards making sure that people still feel very cherished, because they're absolutely important, special clients. They're just not on our one-to-one offer. It doesn't mean that that's a downgrade. It means that it's in a different way that works for both sides. They make the compromise on, access, and in return, they then pay less money. So it's about what's right for that person at the time. You shouldn't feel less because it's a group program or a self-study program. That's just sort of my opinion.
So you mentioned recording what you do. Do you also do your courses and stuff on Zoom?
So I've just changed the way that I do my courses. I now create audio and I have an editor that maps the audio over the slides. But creating Zoom, the main reason I do that is because my Wi-Fi can be quite glitchy. And we had to find a different solution. The 2 recording days that I had planned out, it was raining, and I've just got no hope. So in the air, I was playing it back, and I'd been doing these trainings, and I was playing them back, and they were glitchy, and I was like, oh, this just isn't good enough. Like, I have to redo them. Like, I'd be annoyed if I bought that, and I don't want it to be anything other than perfect, you know. So we came up with another solution, and I recorded the audio. I've got obviously all the recording equipment anyway, and then I had the slides and an editor mapped them over. You know, it's just about communicating when the slide changes were. So yeah, and that has now created a better quality. So I'm glad that it was raining, because it wouldn't have happened otherwise. I would have just done over Zoom, which is good. It is good enough if you've got good Wi-Fi and a good webcam, which I didn't at the time. So yeah, that was a nice, like, serendipitous, like, tangent that the course went on, but I'm really happy with the quality of it. So yeah.
I think you make a good point about the recording what you do and when you teach and everything. I must admit, I do think I could have saved an awful lot of time by recording stuff that I then had to teach again. But do you have a team now or not?
Yeah, I keep my team super small. I had a bigger team before. I've now got a virtual assistant who will do things more like my ad hoc admin stuff. I've got a social media manager who helps me map out what's going out and what content she needs from me. And I've got a digital editor. So that's not full-time role. That's peaks and troughs when I've got new stuff coming out.
Presumably, once if you had to change those people, you can just show them the videos that you trained before, and then there's no additional time from you, right?
Yeah, the only thing I'd need to do is add them as a user to the Google Drive, and then they've got the videos, and I could just say, go and watch the how to make a blog video, how to find the Canva templates and things like that.
I think it's interesting because I don't think that many people have moved as much away from, because you used to do like physical manuals where people had to read through them, and I don't think there's many people who have made that leap yet.
But look at exactly that. I love processes. Like, I don't know how else to work. Age 17 at GE Money, Six Sigma was rammed down my throat, and lean training. I don't know how else to work, okay? And I have never read and taken in a operations manual. You know, I hate them. I hated making them. I hated writing them. I hated reading. Then they never got updated. But if you have, this is what I mean. But then I realized now in later life that I'm visual and I'm experiential. So if I see it and see it being done and do it myself, all day long I could do that. Make me sit down and read it or listen to it, it just won't go in. It might be a limiting belief I'm telling myself, but that's how I prefer to learn. So that's why I do that. I've not yet started transcribing them in case anybody I bring on prefers to read them. Maybe that's the next step. But yeah, it definitely speeds things up, but also removes any margin of error, right? So they can't say, oh, I missed that bit, or, oh, I didn't think you meant that. Or, it's like, well, just watch the video again. Watch the video a couple of times. It's a couple of minutes. Just watch it a couple of times till it sinks in, and then come back to me with any questions. And if they're normally, what I have done in the past is that if I've missed something, there'll be an accompanying document just to read that little bit, or I'll do another video. So yeah, it's definitely just a smarter way of working, and you don't have to dread bringing new people into the team. That's one of the biggest things that stall people on scalability, right? Is that oh, then I have to find someone, then I have to train them, and I haven't got the time. Well, of course you haven't got the time because you're growing the team. That's why, right? Very rarely there's obviously arguments for and against this, but growing the team before you need to, and then the work will fill up, which is obviously, proven to be right. But it's the majority of people will get new people on because they're so busy. Well, if they're so busy, they haven't got time to sit down and onboard them properly. They haven't got time to train them and, make sure that that's all being done. So making sure that that is set up from the off, even if it's only you and the team. Actually, this is a really good bit of advice. Set it up as if your team is 100 people. Yeah. Don't ever set up a process like it's you going to be doing it forever, because it won't be. It won't always be you doing that, because you're going to scale and grow.
Great point. I think you could probably share, this is a little bit of my perception going on, so you can correct me if you think I'm wrong. But I think you'd be able to share something which will be valuable, which is, my perception is that courses at the moment is a crowded marketplace. So what are your principles, or what are your thoughts about succeeding when you're in a crowded marketplace?
Right. So consistency and clarity on your clarity on your messaging, who you're there for, what you stand against, what you like, what you don't, who you can help, how you can help, all of that clarity. Consistency, it's just the bread and butter of any successful business or any successful concept is consistency, right? And whatever that looks like to you, if that means doing a weekly podcast or 20 posts on Facebook a day, whatever it is, stay consistent with it, and people will start to see you, notice you, resonate with you. They'll know that. And funnily enough, I got told this about a year ago, and I was so frustrated. I've always been I've always got on really well with a group of, I'd walk in to a networking event and I'd be able to click and talk to a lot of people on different levels, cleaner to CEO. That doesn't faze me. And, I'd be able to handle myself in a room full of people. And then I came into the online space and I felt like I was invisible. I felt really, really frustrated with it. I was like, I've got all this great stuff to give. Why is no one even liking my posts? And I got told two things. One was about your mindset being more important than, your mission being more important than your mindset in the moment. And that was Helen Pritchard told me that, just to skip over the likes and the people who are the follow account and the people that are on your lives. Skip over all of that, because that's nonsense. Skip over and go to the mission, keep your mission in mind. And the other thing, I can't actually remember who said to me, was just keep going, because in a year when you're still going, people come and go in the online space all the time, because it's tough, right? It's not for the faint-hearted. I've run challenges, I've run masterclasses, I've been visible every single day for well over a year, and it's taken that long for people to start being, oh, she's not going anywhere. Okay, what is she saying? I've been following you for about a year and I really like your content. And I'm like, you've never even liked a post or made a comment or anything. People are there, people are watching. But I get, that's probably the most that I get, is that people are saying that, I see all your stuff and I love what you're saying, and and I'm just completely not aware. So keep consistent, because people are watching, people are there. Also, another thing as well, being in a crowded market, would be to make sure that you understand the difference between good copywriting and copywriting for an online audience, right? So two things, especially in the online space, that I've come to really realize has been, first of all, you've got way less time to hold anyone's attention. They're not sitting there scrolling through social media to sit and read a book. It needs to be punchy, it needs to get their attention, and it needs to, grab and hold their attention. And also you've got less time and need to find more creative ways to gain that know, like, and trust factor, you know? So anybody that I've been at a networking event with and spoken to and have helped will know, like, and trust me very quickly. It doesn't happen on the online space. You need to build it up. You need to nurture your audience. You need to, you know, do things that you wouldn't necessarily have to if they were sitting in my house and I was telling them exactly the same thing, you know? So it's about, yeah, it does always just come back down to consistency and knowing what you're doing and who you're doing it for.
Great answer. And my next question.
Can I just add as well? Sorry, can I add one thing about that as well? Because it suddenly just thought to me is that people could get really put off by a crowded market. And I would say about talking about like collaboration over competition, like every day of the week, because for me, I have complete faith in the way I deliver something. I could refer, and quite happily do, refer other people to other course creation mentors if I feel that they can offer something that's more suited to them or they would prefer working with. And so for me, it's about having confidence. So having that and not seeing that somebody who does exactly the same thing to you, because you're unlikely to be the first to do a lot of things now, is having just confidence in your ability and the transformation that you provide, whatever that is, but just being the best person for your best person, you know, knowing who you're doing it for, making sure that you're the best person for them. And then the rest sort of falls into place, I think.
Okay. What I was going to say was I feel like a lot of what you just said probably applies to my next question. So maybe if you can think of anything in addition to what you just said, maybe it might be valuable. But the question is around competing with free. So you know, loads of people putting out content on YouTube or whatever it might be, and I thought that courses would be, you know, a tricky thing to put out because it's content and everyone's doing loads of content at the moment. What's your again, it's like a differentiation question. So what are your thoughts on competing with the concept of free?
I love free. I'm a massive champion for the power of free. Okay, I've gone down many different routes in my career because I've done free work, or, you know, not thought about the money, the connections, the experience. I've worked with some phenomenal people, got some phenomenal experiences and learnings from not thinking about the fact that it was a paid job. Do the things that other people aren't willing to do. You know, a friend of mine worked at a record label for a year for free because she knew nobody else in her market would do that, because they were thinking about the pound notes at the end of the week, and just, you know, and she's worked with horrible superstars as a result of that, getting that foot in the door. And I adopted that same principle very early on. I worked with, you know, high-level editors, big global companies. Like, so don't think about the pound sign at the beginning. Think about what it could lead to. In terms of content, I always put my best stuff out for free, with no agenda. You know, if it can help somebody, great. But there's absolutely no point in it sitting there in my laptop. What is that doing? It's not serving anybody. I'd much rather it was being read and appreciated and put into action. Like, I'm not a secret course creator. It's so do you see what I mean? I've had a lot of advice over the years to just give the freebie be like a tiny nugget of something. Mine isn't. Mine is the ultimate guide to mapping out your online course. If no one does anything else with that, they can still map out their online course. If they unsubscribe after, they've still got enough to go on. Because I think people are savvier now, right? Like, people aren't stupid. People are like, so one thing I say about, I love this topic actually. So I say, so you know, when you're, think about when you're decorating, right? It's only so, and this goes to both sides, both as a content creator and investing in yourself. Think about when you are decorating and you go to B&Q and you go up and down the aisles and you're looking at what's going on, and you'll get a little tester part and you'll go home. You're not going to paint the whole living room wall, is it? Like, you're only going to get so far with this tester pot. there comes a time when you're going to have to invest in a bigger pot, right? And that's what I see the course being. It's not yet an interior designer. It's not Kelly Hoppen. It's not even your local interior designer. It's the bigger pot that allows you to get the job done. So that's where the course is. And your freebie is this little tester pot, but it's still paint, right? It's still something that's going to, it's not an empty pot, like just with your brand on the side. You see what I mean? Like, so give everything, give the good stuff, like help people. Like, we all just want what's best for people, surely. Like, and it will lead to things further down the line. That's my opinion on it. May not be particularly shrewd, but it keeps me sleeping at night.
So do you think established businesses should have a course which they just give away for free as like a lead gen tool?
I don't think courses work as lead gen. Like they don't. I'll tell you why they don't, because I signed up for one recently and I didn't start it. I didn't start it for about 3 weeks, and then only the other night when I was like, oh, should really have at least a look at it. I looked in and it wasn't that good, and they lost my attention. It was, so personally, I don't think that they work well. I think for a course, and to actually, for a proper course that you invest your time in, it needs to be something you've invested money in. That's just sort of my opinion. What work really well as lead magnets are ebooks or quizzes. Quizzes work quite well as a lead magnet, or some downloads, or checklists, summaries, guides, things like that, that's going to give them value, or training on a particular topic. And the reason I know that to be true is because I've gifted, or not gifted, but I've given like scholarships to people on my programs before, and they do tail off. Like with a digital product, it's very easy to just say, oh, well, just do my course. It doesn't cost me anything. I don't have to do anything. Here's the link, sign up and just enjoy. Because the work's done, right? It's very easy. It's a good way to be able to give to the people that aren't ready yet financially. But they don't finish it. Very rarely. One person who didn't pay, and I know to have finished that course and implemented all the work. Because if they've not paid, there's that saying, if you don't pay, you don't pay attention. So I think with a course, you have to pay real attention, and if you don't pay to get in it, you lose that completion rate. So not a course.
Interesting. One of the things which I think is obvious today, and also things which probably you help people with in your courses, is motivation. Any thoughts there?
So I think staying focused on, like, one of the things I get people to do very early on as part of the orientation module is about their perfect day. And this is something that one of my coaches told me years ago, and their coaches, and it's one of these things that's been passed on, but being laser focused in minute detail, what your perfect day looks like every time things get tough, and literally live and breathe it, read it out to somebody, imagine it, spend time with it, every minute detail of your perfect day. And having that locked in, like anchored into your mind, I feel is a massive motivator, because it not only is it pushing you in a direction, but it's also giving you that clarity and confidence to push back on the things that don't serve your perfect day. Yeah, so you can quite easily say no to certain projects or clients or things that aren't going to end up being, like something that's taking a lot of your energy or a lot of your time, and it's not in the direction that you want to be going in, means that you can then go say no with confidence, right? And fill your space up with things that do contribute towards going. It might not be immediately, long term, but your perfect day.
Because it's not part of your plan, right?
Because it's not part of the plan. And so I had, so 2018 was my year of yes. Said yes to everything, literally everything. I loved it. It was so much fun, but I was exhausted. And so 2019 was my year of no. I was like, no, I'm more confident in business now. I'm going to push back and I'm going to say no to stuff. And then at the end of 2019, I reviewed where I was at and how I was feeling in business. And I now opt for a balance of the two. I say yes to what I want. I say no to what I don't want, and I've got that clarity and confidence to do so.
Well, balance is often where the solution is, right?
Yeah, I'd always recommend it though for anyone new in business. Do a year of yes for like a couple of months. Just see where it goes. You know, I flew to Atlanta. I worked with this a high fashion creative director of a big magazine. I helped build a membership for a pioneering group of women. Worked on some incredible things. I did networking events I would have said no to because I pushed me too out of my comfort zone. Loads of stuff. I was scared of flying. And I flew to Atlanta because it was in my year of yes.
Have you seen Yes Man?
I don't know if I have, but I think I know what it's about. Who's in it? Is it Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to get my teenage daughter to watch it as well because she could do with some more yeses as well.
Well, send me an email when you do. I'd like to know what you think of it.
I will.
But, have you got anything that you think that would be valuable for the audience that I haven't asked you about today?
Not really. I mean, I really don't want people to be put off by launching an online course because of competition and it being a particularly crowded market. It's that really it's just a different way of communicating your message and opening up to a demographic that is not ready for your one-to-one services. It's an enhancement of your business. It's not it's nothing to do with other people. It's about your business. So I think, I'd encourage anybody to just look internally at what they're missing with their current audience and what can you provide to them and how in a way that is scalable and smart and serves both you and the client. So yeah, that's really what it is. It's very easy to just sort of dismiss courses as just another sort of, especially in the coaching world, but it's just a really smart way. Like any coaches like that don't have an online resource portal, they're missing a trick, because just think how valuable your one-to-one sessions are if you've got this online portal of theory, that your sessions can be really about action taking and specific to you instead of explaining about mindsets and beliefs and all of that in your session. You know what I mean? It's just a really smart way of doing business and adding more value to what you're currently doing.
Well, I think there's a lot of reflection that I can do on this particular episode, and I think a lot of people will be in that position. So, Rochelle, what are your goals?
My biggest goal is that I want 1 million people to go through Course You Can and create millions of courses that millions of people complete and gain the outcome that is promised on that sales page. That's, that they are scaling and not failing, and they are building them for the shift and not the sale. So yeah, that is my goal.
Audacious.
Very. Why not?
Exactly. And where's the best place for people to find you?
On Instagram, Rochelle.Dallas.coaching. That's where I hang out mostly. I'm on LinkedIn, and you can get a copy of the Ultimate Guide at courseyoucan.co.uk.
Okay. Well, thank you for all the value today. It's been great.
Oh, thanks for having me.